How are you all doing today? My name is Frederick Price. I'm a multimedia communication major here at the university.
And I'm Ebony Kendrick. I'm also a broadcast journalism emphasis, multi-communications major at the University of Arkansas in Pine Bluff. And we welcome you to our presentation today with the Winthrop Rockefeller Distinguished Lecture Series program, welcoming famed author, Ms. Terry McMillan. How many of you are familiar with Ms. McMillan's work? I know growing up, I used to sneak and read my mama's copy of Mama. I identified closely with Frida in that book. I know that many of you have probably seen how Stella got her groove back. Many of you held your breaths along with waiting to exhale. So we are in such good company, and we have such a privilege to be able to welcome the woman who has brought those images to life. You got anything to add?
I don't, other than the fact that I talked to her a little bit before her interview just a few moments ago, and she is funny, and when she gets up to speak, you all are in for a treat, to say the least.
Follow her on Twitter.
Yes, please follow her on Twitter. We talked about the Twitter thing, and it is hilarious.
At Ms. Terry McMillan.
At this time, I'd like to introduce the jazz combo. The jazz band is under the direction of Mr. Daryl Evans. Hope you enjoy it.
great. So, I have a request. Can you honor that for me? Okay, cool. I'd like to ask that all photography cease for the remainder of the program. I said that real nice. With sugar on top and sprinkles and a cherry. Can you do that for me? Thank you so much. I love y'all. I know I was among family. Okay, so at this time I'd like to continue with our program. We now have a word from the Multimedia Communications own Miss University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, the 90th, Miss Jade West.
Sabadi Kapkua, San la Cern, Pranam Prachao. Bendito sea el nombre del Señor. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Greetings to the Chancellor and his cabinet, faculty, staff, students, guests, and Judge Brown. I am Jade Saichai West, a senior multimedia communications major from Little Rock, Arkansas, and I gracefully serve as the 90th Miss University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. It is with great honor that I welcome you all this morning to A Day with Terry McMillan. Thank you to the Multimedia Communications Department for hosting such an esteemed and inspiring speaker. We look forward to her presentation, Navigating the Publishing World as an African American Female Author. It is our hope that you take this knowledge and apply it to your lives. Once again, welcome and enjoy the program.
Thank you, Jade, so much. At this time, we'll have a special video presentation courtesy of the Winthrop Rockefeller Foundation about the origin of the foundation and career highlights of Winthrop Rockefeller.
As a member of one of the most influential and wealthy families in America, it would have been easy for Winthrop Rockefeller to simply let life come to him. But he was a different breed, a nonconformist, some might even say a rebel, his own man, born with an independent spirit. Rockefeller spent half his life searching for something within himself, something outside of his family's expectations. He withdrew from his studies at Yale and went on to work as a roughneck in the Texas oil fields. Rockefeller then enlisted in the Army and served in World War II, where he received the Bronze Star, was wounded, and earned the Purple Heart. During his time in the military, he became friends with an Arkansan named Frank Newell. After returning from the war, Rockefeller married Barbara Bobo Sears, and they had a son, his only child, Winthrop Paul. In the summer of 1953, Frank Newell invited Rockefeller to Arkansas for a reprieve from the hustle and bustle of New York City. It was precisely what he'd been searching for his whole life. Rockefeller and his eagerly adopted state of Arkansas would never be the same. When he moved to Arkansas, Winthrop Rockefeller built a new life for himself and his family atop Petit Jean Mountain. Demonstrating a purpose and vision for his own life that had not been seen before, Rockefeller immediately developed a premier working cattle ranch he called Winrock Farms. He hosted thousands of visitors from across the nation to his innovative farm. This site served as a model for progress and an inspiration for change in Arkansas. Though not politically ambitious, Winthrop Rockefeller was determined to do anything he could to enact positive change in Arkansas. Appointed chairman of the Arkansas Industrial Development Commission, largely due to his famous last name, Rockefeller nonetheless immersed himself in his responsibilities. Under his guidance, 90,000 new jobs were created in Arkansas. Ultimately, Rockefeller realized that his efforts would have to include political and election reform in order to facilitate the changes he knew were necessary for Arkansas to truly free itself from the shackles of the past. Rockefeller threw his trademark cowboy hat into the political ring, and along with it, his single-minded focus and determination to reform what he saw as a backward and corrupt political system based on patronage and cronyism. His election in 1966 made him the 37th governor of Arkansas and the state's first Republican governor since Reconstruction. Rockefeller's lifelong commitment to civil rights was also evident. As governor, he named William Sonny Walker to a cabinet-level position, the first Arkansas governor to appoint a black cabinet member. Rockefeller was also the only Southern governor to hold a public memorial service after the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. Winthrop Rockefeller's governorship was a watershed moment for the state and paved the way for future progressive candidates to hold the office. Upon leaving office, Governor Rockefeller said he wanted historians to think of him as more than a political phenomenon. He wanted to be remembered, in his words, as a catalyst who hopefully served to excite in the hearts and minds of our people a desire to shape our own destiny. He did so by creating business, artistic, and educational opportunities for his fellow Arkansans. Rockefeller was a pioneer of philanthropy in Arkansas. In a letter to his son, he wrote of his family, "While we lived comfortably with that which we inherited and earned, we had the responsibility to see that these resources were also used wisely in the service to our fellow man." Rockefeller's philanthropic efforts focused on strengthening America's place in the world and building Arkansas. Winthrop Rockefeller cared deeply for the people of Arkansas, but he also recognized the global relevance of the problems and opportunities he found in the state. Perpetuating the legacy of Winthrop Rockefeller, the University of Arkansas system established the Winthrop Rockefeller Institute in 2005 with a grant from the Winthrop Rockefeller Charitable Trust. The Educational Institute and Conference Center provides Arkansas with ongoing learning opportunities and a location for groups and organizations to stimulate new perspectives by offering a variety of educational programs and diverse activities that are focused on current and emerging issues. Programs combine the resources of the Institute with the expertise of the University of Arkansas system to foster an educational environment and a free flow of ideas. In addition to academic partners, the Institute collaborates with business, industry, and government leaders. Focus areas include agriculture and environment, arts and humanities, economic development, policy and public affairs. The guiding principles and abiding interests of Winthrop Rockefeller continue to set the direction for the Winthrop Rockefeller Institute. At the conclusion of his 1967 inaugural address, Governor Rockefeller stated,
"And so I dedicate my administration to the people of Arkansas."
The Winthrop Rockefeller Institute believes that this dedication goes beyond his time in office and reaches far beyond the state's borders. The work we do reflects Winthrop Rockefeller's legacy and values while furthering the educational and public service missions of the Rockefeller family and the University of Arkansas system. Through educational programs and conferences, the Winthrop Rockefeller Institute serves as an objective and inclusive body that promotes innovative ideas for today while working toward solutions for tomorrow. The influence of Winthrop Rockefeller is all around us. As you visit the mountain he loves so much, you'll see that influence in action. We invite you to understand his impact. Feel it all around you and from those you encounter here. and then strive to live the legacy of Winthrop Rockefeller along with us.
That was a wonderful video. We are very, very happy to be a part of the Winthrop Rockefeller legacy. At this time, I'd like to introduce our president of the Student Government Association, Ms. Kennedy Marks, who will introduce our distinguished lecturer.
Good morning. I am Kennedy Marks, the Student Government Association president at this great institution. Today we are in for a sweet treat. Miss Terry McMillan fell in love with books as a young teen girl. A first-generation college graduate, her love for books took her all the way to Berkeley and Columbia University, where she received her degrees. She later began writing and editing every second she could spare in between being a single mother. That dedication resulted in her critically acclaimed novels Mama and Disappearing Acts, which sold millions of copies and gained awards. Though all well known, McMillan's books, Waiting to Exhale and How Stella Got Her Groove Back, were made into major motion movies, which also received awards. After selling millions of copies, winning a multitude of awards, appearing on talk shows, and having 4 of her books turned into films, McMillan adds onto her list as a speaker. She expresses her own life's journey through her stories with sass and pizzazz, and she believes that it's never too late to become who you want to be. Please stand and help me welcome the wise, talented, and beloved Miss Terry McMillan.
Hello, everybody. I don't recall winning awards. Maybe you know something I don't. Anyway, it's cold up here. I'm looking at Mr. Rockefeller on my nose. Anyway, thank you all very, very much for coming. Cool students. I've never been to Arkansas. This is my first time. I hope I can read this. It's nice to see so many black faces. I can say that. I don't really get a chance to say it a lot. But thank you all very much for coming. And it's not even lunchtime. Is it? You guys have snacks for me? Arkansas snacks. Now this Pine Bluff really reminds me of my hometown in Michigan, which I was just at a few months ago. So, kind of choked me up, to be honest with you. And some of the pictures could be relatives. But anyway, for those of you, I'm going to read, I have a new book that comes out at the end of March, 2020, and we all know what else happens in 2020. And I want to make a comment. I'm not. Anyway, it's cold up here. Oh! Man, thank you. Oh, thank you. Oh, any water? No water? Anybody have any water? Thank you. Anyway, so I'm going to read from a new book called It's Not All Downhill From Here. And you young people probably don't believe that, but it's the truth. Who said that? Anyway, so I'm going to read some of the opening, and that's pretty much it. There's a few words in here that are a little strong. I hope you can accept it. I didn't say it, I just wrote it. Okay? I don't use that language. And basically because the book's not out, I'm almost limited to reading from the beginning or it won't make sense. So I apologize. No, I don't. Anyway, so I'll read for about 2 years. No, I'll read for about 35, 40 minutes. And then I'll answer your questions. Okie dokie. And then we can have some fried chicken. I don't want another surprise party, which is just one reason why a few weeks ago when my husband Carl called while I was walking our dog BB King to the dog park and asked what I wanted to do for my birthday this year, I politely said, baby, let's try to figure out how to get our second win. At first, Carl high-pitched chuckled like he was a soprano or something, and then he said, well, we need a boat. I chuckled right back, even though I was serious as a heart attack. Don't you worry, Miss Lowe, I've got you covered, he said as he hung up. I knew he really didn't get my drift. What I meant was, since we both have more days behind us than we had ahead of us, how about we try to figure out what we can do to pump up the volume? It's not that our life is boring, well, maybe it is a little bit, but even though we don't do very many things that generate excitement, I still love him more than my Twizzlers. Carl is a retired contractor who refuses to retire. And after 30 years of all work and no play, selling hair and beauty products in 2 stores too many, I don't exactly qualify as a thrill a minute myself. I released BB King's leash inside the dog park, but he just stood there shivering as if he were waiting to be invited to participate in some activity that didn't require him to run or jump. In human years, he and I will soon be the same age, 68. His whiskers and eyebrows are peppered with gray, but unlike me, BB doesn't dye his hair. He is our 3rd German Shepherd, and I don't want to think about how long it'll be until he doesn't want to or can't hop in the back seat of my Volvo station wagon, which I will drive until, like me, it stops running. I sat on a green metal bench and watched him sniff a friendly chocolate poodle, and I realized I was hoping and praying I wasn't going to have to sit through yet another lackluster party where nobody even thinks about dancing until they hear a song you have to be damn near 70 to remember, which I suppose now includes me. And that's if you call doing the cha-cha-cha in flats or espadrilles or 2-inch wedgies with rubber soles to a beat they all hear differently dancing. I don't. I watch music videos on YouTube. I find myself rocking my future size 12 hips, swinging and swaying my shoulders and popping my fingers to the likes of Single Ladies or Uptown Funk, but that little cute Bruno Mars until I have to wipe my forehead. I have not forgotten how to dance. In fact, sometimes Carl will sit in his leather recliner, lean way back, and just watch me swirl around in my 3-inch heels, which I wear to work every day because I like to appear glamorous. In those moments, I feel pretty and sexy and 40. Carl just nods his head like he's agreeing and pops his fingers until that smile on his luscious lips begin to disappear. Then he might hold up an index finger suggesting that I give him a minute, but don't stop dancing, and slowly push himself up to a standing position and limp down the hallway to take one of his little blue pills. Oh, hell. Here I go again, meandering. I'm just going to have to stop apologizing for it because from what I learned reading my AARP newsletter, this is only the beginning. Though truth be told, forgetting what I was talking about and going off on tangents isn't completely new to me. Back in the 20s, I smoked a lot of reefer with my friends. We'd all sit in a circle on the floor on giant pillows and have deep conversations about the purpose of life or something having to do with God or how we were going to change the world. But then we'd all stop talking because we were suddenly mesmerized by that lava lamp. Then somebody would realize they were one step away from freaking out and would jump to a standing position in order to snap out of it, and then they'd ask, what the we just talking about again? And since not one of us had a clue, we just started passing the joint until the next philosophical inquiry overtook our minds. Thank God. I got tired of thinking about things that didn't matter and realized I liked the way I felt when I was under the influence, when I wasn't under the influence of anything. And when I didn't like how I felt, it was a hell of a lot easier to figure out how to deal with it when my head was clear. Anyway, now I'm a certified senior citizen and my mind has earned the right to do whatever I go wherever I want. So I decided that when I can't remember something, it must not have been that important anyway. But sometimes when I do remember, it feels like an accomplishment. Like right now, I'm remembering last year's adult party. And my feelings were hurt when both of my twin sister in Odessa and my own daughter, Jalecia, were no-shows. All I can say is, thank God for sons. Or I should say, never mind, I'm not reading it, I'm sorry. My BFFs were there. My daughter and my sister, my twin sister, did not show up. But my best friends were there. Lucky, Sadie, Corinthia, even Poochie made the trip from Las Vegas. I grew up with all of them, and occasionally we all get on one another's nerves, sometimes to the point that our friendships get temporarily annulled. But we always come running back because we have loved each other longer than some of us have loved the men in our lives. This morning, right after I felt Carl kissing me on my forehead, and he knew I was awake even though my eyes were closed. He said, "So, are we good then, cutie?" I looked up at him and then tugged at the metal buttons on his coverall pocket and said, "I suppose I'm just gonna have to trust you, mister. Good, just wait till you see how much fun you're going to have for finally taking a direct order from your husband." I gave him an "aw shucks, but get out of here" before I changed my mind. Look, and he stood there in the doorway. His silver afro almost touched the top of the frame, and those broad shoulders reminded me that he once was a wide receiver. I wish I'd known him when he was catching footballs, but all things considered, he caught me at the right time, when my kids were well on their way to being grown and gone. And Carl came into the shop one day to buy some horsetail shampoo for himself, and I laughed and he laughed and told me that I smelled like ginger. I couldn't help but notice that there was no gold band on his left finger. And he told me he owned a construction company and handed me his black business card with smooth white letters and said if I ever needed any improvements, I should feel free to call him. And I did, but it was me who got renovated. "Hold on," he said. "Hold on," he said. "What did you want for your birthday again?" I let out a long sigh. "Some skinny jeans." "You got it, girlie. Now stay put and I'll see you when I see you." He limped out the doorway backwards. Carl had pleaded with me to take the weekend off, which was why I'd given in and closed the Pasadena store by putting a sign on the door that said "Water damage. Will reopen Monday." Because you have to have a legitimate sounding reason to close a beauty supply store. And since I can't trust the two young ladies who work for me, their days are numbered, I paid them for the missed shifts and told them I was having some plumbing work done. They pretended to care. I don't like to close except when I get sick, which is not often, and I make most of my money on weekends and holidays, which folks use as an excuse to buy more beauty products than they need. It used to be mostly young women who spent a ton of money in the house of beauty and glamour, but now it's seasoned women and a lot of men. My goal is to help them look and feel beautiful, which is precisely why whenever I leave the house, except when I'm walking BB King, I try to make sure I look like I'm headed somewhere important. My mother raised me this way. The only place you should look bad is at home. And if you look good, you will feel good. Okay, I'm in Arkansas. Folks are always asking me what I used to do for a living, since it's obvious I look like I get Social Security. And even though I have my share of new wrinkles, which I prefer to call beauty marks, they're hard to see since I'm a dark brown. And I use a good concealer to smooth them out. I know they're there though, and that I've earned them. My real hair color is a boring mixed gray, but I dye it what I call sexy silver. And for the record, I wouldn't be caught dead wearing anything but red lipstick. I make exceptions to this rule depending on my outfit, which might require a hot pink or burnt orange, but that's as far as I go. Wait a minute. Okay, I'm sorry. Oh, the real reason Carl left early was to oversee the installation of new cabinets and a kitchen sink in one of our rental apartments. And I'm almost ready to give this one away. Rental property is hardly worth the income, and all you do is put the money back into the property, but Carl likes to stay busy, okay? And he will spend most of his days zigzagging back and forth between there and my mom's empty apartment. Excuse me. My mom's empty house, the house Carl and I bought her. He is supervising his renovation after she caused it to catch fire. Fortunately, we moved Ma into Valley View, a lovely assisted living residence, but she still thinks she's moving back into her house, which she is not. She has lost her red Corolla too many parking garages and had one too many fender benders because she was confusing the brake with the gas pedal, but she is safe now. Unlike Ma, Carl has refused to accept the fact that at 73 with both knees full of arthritis, he is handicapped. He won't use his cane, but I know when he's in pain, he limps harder, even if he rarely complains. I feed BB King, then pour myself a bowl of granola that tastes like straw and drown it in a cup of tasteless almond milk. I got them both at Whole Foods where I have recently started shopping to impress my doctor. After my life-changing breakfast, BB brings me the leash and I decided I can take him for a short walk. When I see a mother coming towards us, taking a video of her little girl in a stroller tugging on the strings of a cluster of yellow and white balloons, it dawns on me that at my last birthday party, we videotaped it. Unfortunately, I've forgotten how to work the DVD player because we'd hardly used it since we started streaming Netflix. They've become pretty much obsolete. Anyway, I sit down and BB King falls asleep. I figure out how to work it. When I see the title card for my party appear on the DVD, I am really grateful. And when I hear BB snoring, I fast forward to the touching toast my girlfriends made, and remember, they sounded more like testimonials from old Oprah Winfrey shows. Here's hoping you don't have any reason to be admitted to the hospital or visit anybody else. This is not the kind of you say to somebody at their 67th birthday party, but Sadie meant well. She is a semi-attractive spinster who loves visiting sick people, especially if they're still in the hospital. And she doesn't miss a funeral, even when she doesn't know the deceased. And she's a retired librarian, but I think Sadie missed her calling because she acts like she's on stage the way she presses her palms against her flat chest when she reads the names of the sick and the shut-in, along with those who recently passed in the church bulletin. "Why didn't you cry?" she asked me once. I told her because it's hard to cry for a stranger. But I have not been back since she went and joined the choir and brags about her solos. I heard they're always off key, and that's mostly relatives who yell out, "Praise the Lord, Sister Sadie." I hate to admit it, but lately instead of going to church, I go to movie video matinees, mostly for the senior citizen discount. Carl usually relaxes and watches sports, and it's not that we're not religious. I just grew up going every Sunday, so it just felt like I heard it all before. And even though I know I can sometimes be opinionated every once in a while, prone to harmless gossip and occasionally a flat-out bitch, I do believe in God. And I try to live a Christian life, but for tune-ups, I watch church on TV, which I can attend in my PJs, and sometimes I record it to watch while I'm having dinner with my husband. I push the coffee table a few minutes away with my feet and then cross my legs when I see Corinthia's tall, slender body appear on TV. "Here's hoping you'll consider hiring a seasoned woman for your Pasadena shop," she said, "and not the one in LA, because I'm not getting on that 10 freeway for no amount of money, period. Actually, I think you should sell the LA store. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah. You should be willing to hire me to work part-time for a few dollars over minimum wage because I'm bored, mind you, not because I need the money Unlike those young hoochies who spend more time primping at the countertop mirrors than they do helping loyal customers find a decent mixed gray synthetic ponytail or the best scalp treatment for thinning hair. And I don't want to waste any more time, but if I did, I'd also add that they don't have a clue about the kind of makeup cut that covers puffiness under your eyes. And that's all I have to say. Okay, Corinthia can, and we'll talk you to death if you don't cut her off. She is also a beautiful, slender giant. She's 6'1", and the only one out of all of us who still has her college weight. Not that she went to college. She was too impatient. 4 years is too damn long not to make any money. For most of her adult life, Corinthia bartendered at clubs and waitress at 24-hour restaurants, and she'd brag, I get paid in cash and get to keep every dime I make. But Corinthia, who didn't marry any of the 3 men who fathered her 3 children, never thought that one day she would get old and need Social Security and Medicare. And now she wants me to hire her, but her people skills are rough since our customers were mostly always drunk or high. And I will give her this, she insisted that her kids go to college and they all did. They live in San Diego now. But when her parents died, she inherited a few funeral parlors, and unlike Sadie, Corinthia is afraid of the dead, so she sold the business. To this day, she has yet to figure out what to do with her free time except exercise. She looks so good, she pisses us all off. B.B. King lets out a stinky fart. Next up is Lucky, whose real name is Elizabeth Taylor. Lucky said her mama was tripping after seeing National Velvet, which was why Lucky changed her name to one she liked, not legally, of course. Here's praying you trade in that ugly Volvo station wagon, she said. Lucky has always been a confused elitist. She thinks the kind of car you drive defines you along with your zip code. She used to be a costumer for game shows and some TV commercials, but now spends her time shopping and cooking and eating. Lucky, who never had kids because she never wanted any, lives up above the Rose Bowl but has never bothered to walk the 3 miles around it. She wakes up and looks at the San Gabriel Mountains. I look across the street. Hold on a minute. I forgot, she said. Here's hoping you finally hit your healthy weight goal by this time next year. Lucky has a lot of nerve bringing this up. She who still pretends she's a size 16. But Lucky takes pills for high cholesterol because she's addicted to fried everything. Rocky Mountain ice cream and any kind of pie. And I'm not too far behind her. And I won't lie. The last time I saw Dr. Alexopoulos, she had a nerve to tell me that I'm heavier than I should be. She also claims I'm borderline diabetic and that it would be in my best interest if I lost about 25 or preferably 35 pounds, which I think is ridiculous. I'm big boned, I told her. And I'm black. We have big hips and it's genetic. She doesn't buy it. To be honest, it's hard to change old and especially bad habits. If you want to prevent future health problems, Mrs. Curry, you need to cut back on fat, carbohydrates, and sugar, and perhaps consider exercising. It's never too late. I don't like anybody telling me what to do. And I told her I'd try to eat light, which was a lie, and that I'd walk my dog every day, which wasn't. She said at my age, walking my dog didn't really qualify as cardiovascular workout. I've been trying to get up to nerve to fire her, if you can fire a doctor. But I have not been back to her since last year, and I've been so busy running the House of Beauty and Glamour that I haven't had time to incorporate exercise into my daily routine, although I've been thinking about it. No, I haven't. It hasn't even crossed my mind. I admit it. I don't like gyms because most of the people in there are either young or already in good shape. They make me feel plump and old, even if technically I'm both. My doctor told me to consider giving spinning a try, and I tried to tell her she should consider getting a makeover. She looks like Grandpa from the Munsters with that dirty blonde see-through hair, but even though I wouldn't admit it to her, I went ahead and pled guilty to being lazy to myself, and I decided I would start cutting back one by one on Twizzlers, Baskin Robbins quarterback crunch ice cream, Roscoe's fried chicken, cheeseburgers, french fries, and french bread, gravy, all muffins. And during the holidays, I can only have one of either peach cobbler, sweet potato pie, or bread pudding. I even tried saying eeny, meeny, miny, mo, but have not been as successful as I had hoped. I have no willpower. My newly revised plan, however, is to try harder. I'm going to think hard about dieting and make some changes, starting New Year's, which is still the day after my birthday. Here's hoping you give our cruise to nowhere. Oh, when I hear BB King whining, I press pause before Poochie can start talking and get up, and I get up to let him in. Here's hoping you give our cruise to nowhere another chance, Laretha. It's been 3 years and we want you back, right, ladies? And all the other ladies screamed out, yes. Poochie has been old longer than the rest of us. She could not have kids, which is probably why she became a special needs nurse, and she mothers anybody who needs mothering. If you hurt, she will rub your back, rock you back and forth, and squeeze you until you fall asleep. Her husband died a long time ago, and ever since then, Poochie decided that we should all go on a cruise. But I don't like floating, and I'm not crazy about the ocean because I almost drowned when I was 9. Poochie begged me to try just one cruise, and I promised I wouldn't even get wet. She promised I wouldn't even get wet, and since everybody in our posse was going, I huffed and puffed and I gave in. It was one cruise too many. I did not have fun. I didn't understand what there was to like about the entertainment. It was always singers you never heard of who sparkled in sequins, in evening gowns or shimmering white fringe, and a temptation walk, and in tuxedos with buttons. The shrieking was mostly that I heard from folks pounding on slot machines because they didn't win anything, not because they did. I vowed that I was never going on another cruise again, and I hate to say it, but I secretly thank God when Poochie moved to Las Vegas to take care of her ailing mother. So every few months, we take the midnight casino bus to visit, and Poochie meets us at the tables and the slots, and each time I cross my fingers and pray that she would not bring up or plan another cruise. So far, so good. Carl leaves and doesn't get home until after 6. I'm almost finished. And tired as a dog. I walk in the backyard, I'm sorry. He leaves his dirty work boots by the side door, gives me my regular peck on the cheek, and then says, "You ready? You gonna be ready for tonight?" He said, "Yeah, what should I wear?" And I said, "Yes, what should I wear?" And he said, "Something pretty." He tells me, basically, that he is not having a surprise birthday party. But I know he's lying. It takes all day for 7 o'clock to get here. And I can't wait to get this over with. "You look stunning," Carl says when I walk out of the bedroom in a hot pink skirt I bought at Nordstrom's last year. And I'm just glad I was still able to squeeze into it. "Thank you, Carl," I said. No, he said, "You look stunning." Yeah, I'm sorry, squeeze into it. "We need to step on it, Lo, because you know there's always traffic." "Traffic? We shouldn't have to get on the freeway to go where I thought we were going to Maybell's. Soul Food Dining. Maybe Cinnamon, my niece, who opened her big mouth and told me that I was, in fact, having a surprise birthday party, did not tell me the truth. Wait a minute. Where is my party going to be? Why are you so nosy?" I put my flower purse on the floor, and once I got in the car, in my pointy black shoes, and crossed my legs without success. I turned on the XM Soul Station, and when I realized we're heading toward the 210 freeway, I turned to Carl and say, "Hold on a minute. When Cinnamon told me about the party, I just assumed it was at Maybell's." "You assume too much, love." "Well, where are we going, and why did I get all dressed up?" "We're on our way to Palm Springs." "Palm Springs? You mean I'm not having a party?" "No." "Then why did you tell Cinnamon and then I was?" "Because I wanted to throw you off, because you always think you got everything figured out, which I love about you, but I bet she didn't tell you she's pregnant now, did she?" "Don't answer that. Please don't tell her I told you. Anyway, I called all your girlfriends 3 weeks ago, begging them to bring up celebrating your birthday this year because I knew you were sick of the same old thing. For once, they listened to me, but it cost me. What do you mean it cost you? Promise me you won't interrupt when I finish? I promise. Carl doesn't say anything. He turns the music down. Oddly enough, now I'm disappointed that I'm not having a party. And I'm furious that my stupid-ass granddaughter is going to go be a parent. I wonder if Jalecia, my daughter, her mother, knows she's going to be a grandmother or if she even cares. I wonder why Cinnamon told Carl and not me. But I can't worry about any of this tonight. I still have lingering nerves and suspicions because I was all set for the party and now Carl has added a whole new layer to surprise. I kick off the stupid heels and then we're already starting to hurt, and I think how I should have put the hook on my bra in the first instead of the second row. I do my best to take any sips of cool air and try to keep my big mouth shut. And then I hear Carl say, "Isn't that sunset gorgeous?" I turn to look. All sunsets are gorgeous. He's stalling. We're mad at me now. "Yes, it is, Carl. I'm sorry. I'm all ears." He turns the radio down. Then Tina Turner is just starting to sing what I know the first few chords of What's Love's Got to Do with It. And I try to be patient by clasping my fingers into a church and then a steep one. Just when I'm about to open the door and see all the people, I hear him say, "Okay. So your friends were a little sensitive about being left out of your birthday, and I had to promise them a few things to pacify them. You're going to have to go on that cruise to nowhere in the fall, which has made Poochie very happy. And you're going to have to sell your Volvo, which I hate to admit I agree with Lucky. You're going to have to hire Corinthia at the store, and she says she's willing to be trained, but to do what I do not know. And last but not least, Lucky has signed you both up for Weight Watchers and enrolled you in some silver sneakers gym so you all can both get fit even though I love the way you look. I'm not going on that cruise. It's only 3 days, Lo, and I promised. I crossed my arms. Who's going to look after Poochie's mama? She's bringing her too. Oh, yeah. And I pressed my palms against my forehead. Lo, it'll make them happy. What about me? This feels like blackmail. It is, but it's also called love. Wait a minute, what does Sadie want? I roll my eyes at him. My bad. But you've got so many friends and it's hard to remember them all. But Sadie just asked if you would please come to her church just once or 3 times before Christmas. Oh, hell, I say, and then catch myself. I suppose it wouldn't hurt for me to get in touch with the Lord this year, but I do not want to sit next to her because she is inclined to get the Holy Ghost. Wait a minute. I forgot. She sits in the choir now, hallelujah. Then we were quiet. How much time do I have, I asked, before your next birthday? He let out a chuckle and started shaking his head. I watched the orange sun disappearing behind the San Gabriel Mountains, and like magic, snow suddenly started to appear on the peaks. And I waited for Carl to tell me he had spoken to my daughter and my sister, but he just turned the radio up when I'll Be Doggone by Marvin Gaye came on. Thank you.
First of all, Ms. McMillan, thank you so much for agreeing to share your experience with us today. We're very appreciative of that, and also for responding to a few questions.
You're welcome. This isn't my experience. Are you?
You're writing.
Oh,
You're writing.
okay.
I know that's not your personal experience.
I'm pretty close.
Hello everyone, my name is Christiana Barnes. I'm a freshman here at the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, major in political science with a minor in English. My question to you today is what is the most valuable lesson you have learned throughout all the obstacles you have been through in life?
What is the most what?
Valuable lesson you have learned throughout all the obstacles.
Most valuable lessons that I've learned based on what?
all the obstacles that you have been through in life?
That girl, I could be here all day. To be honest with you, that it's important to be honest, that you can't let other people pull you down, that you have to believe in your own and trust your own judgment, and believe that you have a place in the world, that you can leave your mark on the world, and that you really should trust in goodness and hope, regardless of how bad things feel and how bad things look, because God gives us more chances than we can use up.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm good. These shoes don't hurt. They got pads in them. I'm serious. And I bought them too big.
Good morning. My name is Ariel Williams.
Let me blow my ears out for a minute.
My name is Ariel Williams. I am a senior music education major who loves to write. And I was wondering if, I wanted to ask, what advice would you give for someone like me who loves to write but seems to not have time?
But what?
But seems to not have time.
Well, you're a student, right? Didn't you say you're a student?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, first of all, I don't have a lot of time either, but I'll find it. You have to make the time. When I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is pray, and then I eat. I make coffee while I eat, and I donate myself some peace and quiet. And during that time is when I forget that the world exists, and I sit down at my computer and make up people, and I write. So I don't know if you're talking about writing fiction or writing nonfiction.
Fiction.
Fiction. You have to figure out, you have to carve out time. And what time is cumulative. 15 minutes a day ends up being an hour in a few days. And then an hour, 1 week becomes 2 hours. And before you know it, you're turning pages. As long as you don't judge what you're writing and just write it from your heart and your gut, and not worry and not look over your own shoulder about what people are going to think, including you. Just write what you feel, and write what you feel, not as much what you think, because what you think can mess you up. You write from here and you write from here. Because otherwise you are judging what you're doing before. And sometimes you don't even know what you feel until after you've written it. And if you're writing fiction about yourself, usually young people do. You write more about your own experiences. Let it go, flow, let it flow. But just give yourself permission not to judge and not start thinking about being published and all that. Because what you end up doing is liberating your heart. And you can tell the truth the way that you see it, and pretend like nobody is ever going to read it. And you'll be shocked.
Thank you. Wow. I am so excited. I'm so grateful. Hello, Author Terry. This is blessing me. I had a dream about standing here. I'm an author, and you are my secret admirer. You are a mentor to me. I brought 3 of your books. I've been following you for such a long time. And I brought you a gift today. And I just wanted to ask you a couple of questions. One question. Okay, I'll try. One question. Being an author, I'm writing my second book. I want to know, in terms of writing, I write living history books, and I go out and I scout because I like to share stories. What gives you the inspiration to go to that next level? Just listening to you read up there, I'm ready for that book. So what is it that pushes you?
I write about what bothers me.
Okay.
About what I see that I don't like or that I don't understand and that I wish I did. And so that's what I don't write about what I think I already know, because I don't.
Okay.
That's very arrogant.
Okay.
And I do not have it all figured out.
Right.
But I question why we do what we do. And who is the beneficiary of it, because a lot of times it's not just us, it's somebody else. And that's what, and I don't care how old you are, for every action there is a reaction. And sometimes it's positive and sometimes it's not. Some people don't want to stop long enough to look. And that's what writing does. And I just encourage you to continue. But don't ever think you know everything, because none of us do.
For sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you for reading.
Hello, Ms. McMillan. My name is Pasha Grissom. I'm a freshman here at the university. I'm majoring in psychology, and my question is for you today. At what age or what period in your life did you know that writing is something that you want to do for the rest of your life?
Oh, I never knew I wanted to do this for the rest of my life. The only thing I've ever wanted to do for the rest of my life is be in love. It's true. A lot of times, a lot of young people don't realize that. You have some people that already know what they love to do. That from when they're kids, they love, but being young is an opportunity to discover who you are. And some young people don't give themselves permission to do that, especially if you got parents telling you what they think you should do. Don't listen to them. I'm not kidding you, don't listen to them. I don't care what they do or how successful they are. Find your own way. You need to find out what it is that you feel very passionate about. And I didn't. I used to write some tired poems when I was in college. But those poems ended up becoming sentences, and then I found out I could lie and it would sound like the truth. But in fact, what I was searching for was the truth, and I didn't even know that. But that's the beauty to me of being in college. It's a forum and a field that you can discover who you are. That's why when I hear, like you said, you're a psychology major and you're a freshman, right? I give you credit, you may very well already know that, but when I was a freshman in college, I had no clue what I wanted to do. None whatsoever. And a lot of young people don't understand that when you're young, this is when you can make mistakes, you can change your mind. It's an opportunity to make discoveries, to find out what your passion, what lifts your hymn, and pay attention to that as opposed to what may look good on paper or what sounds good. Because I don't think at 18 or 19 years old, I knew. I did not know. And you change as you get older, and you find out. You have to give yourself permission. Give yourself permission to find out what it is that makes you excited. I don't care what it is. And I don't care what your friends are doing, where, they can be, they're going to law school and, no. Because years ago, I never in a million years would have thought that I would be writing books. It was something that happened, and I loved lying. I loved lying in order to tell the truth. And it was my way. I just found out that it was very liberating. But I never knew, and you couldn't have told me that, oh, by the way, Terry, one day you might be a best-selling author. I would have slapped you. You don't know. And that's the beauty of being young. You can change your mind. And even when you get older, you can still change your mind. Because there are many paths that we can take, but you go down the path, not the one that looks good on paper, but the one that makes your heart beat, the one that stimulates you, that excites you. That's what you do. I don't care what your major is now. And if this is what you love to do, that's what you do, and that's what I did. You know, I would never in a million years have thought that I would publish a book. And then later on, you know, that a lot of people would read them. You don't know, and that shouldn't stop you.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good
My
morning.
name is Tyke Edwards. I'm a proud member.
You're what?
I'm a proud member of the women's basketball team here, and I have a question for you. Around what age did you find your purpose in life, if you found your purpose?
Didn't I just answer that?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I thought I did. I mean, first of all, let me just say this. I don't know so much if. I think you can have more than one purpose. You know, there's no straight line. I'll put it this way. I'll put it this way. I mean, I have a son who's 35. He's a Stanford University graduate. And the bottom line is this. He was smart all on his own. He didn't get it from me. I can tell you that right now. Maybe he got some from his daddy. But the bottom line is this. He was a long jumper and triple jumper. He didn't really know what he wanted to do. He liked track. And I was like, right on. Bottom line is this. I didn't impose my stuff on my son. I wanted him to find his own way. And guess what? He can play that guitar. And the piano. He can't sing, but he thinks he can sing. He can't sing. But he's good. And he just turned 35. And I had to let him know that guess what? You know what? And he is a good musician. He can play that piano and play the heck out of that guitar. And his voice is getting a little better. But he's better off when he don't sing. But the bottom line is this. I told him, let me tell you something. Guess what? And I tell all my nieces and nephews and young people that I did not write my first book. It did not get published until I was 36. I know that seems old to a lot of you students. It's not. My first novel was published when I was 36. I had my son when I was 32. And I told him, I said, let me tell you something. It doesn't matter how long it takes you or when you find out what it is that lifts your hem, what it is that excites you, but when you find it and you know it. And there is no age limit. There is no age limit, so don't let people try to pressure you into thinking you should have it all figured out by 20. You shouldn't. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I'm saying that about how you know, I mean, I'm going to be 68 in 2 weeks. I can't believe it. But, and this ponytail, wait a minute, the ponytail is a facelift, I'll tell you. Okay, it's a little, it pulls everything up. But the thing is that college is an institution of higher learning. You don't come here based on what you already know. You're here to find out what it is that you can discover. Take advantage of it. You can change your mind more than once. Do it until you find out what gives you chill bumps, what excites you. I don't care what it is, and I don't care how everybody else might think it's ridiculous. Don't listen to them. Trust this and this and this last.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, Ms. McMillan. My name is Shakari Briggs. I am a reporter with the local newspaper here, the Pine Commercial. I wanted to ask you, you have another book that's set to turn into a film.
I can't hear you, honey.
I'm sorry. You have another book that's set to turn into a film, which I almost forgot about you. How does it feel to know that not only is your body of work wanted in the publishing realm, but also in Hollywood? And if you could choose one actress to play you, who would it be?
Does it what?
If you could choose one actress to play you.
To play me? I'm not in these books.
Well, if you could choose someone to play you in your life story, that's what I mean.
A life story? Girl, I am still alive. This book is called It's Not All Downhill From Here. Okay? No. I don't think anybody really is thinking like that. I'm not thinking like that. I'm not thinking like that. I mean, life is long if you live it so that it can be long. My birthday is October 18th. And I'm flying from Los Angeles up to the Bay Area to see the Warriors play the Lakers. And, some people have said, why? Well, and I'm saying, because it's fun. I love doing it. I love the Lakers. I like basketball. And, it's like, I don't know. I'm not thinking about the end of my life. I am not. And I never have. All I'm trying to do is slide into home when I get there. That's what I'm trying to do. And I did make my character diabetic because I was diagnosed diabetic about 6-7 years ago. And I stopped eating sugar. I exercise. I stopped taking their medication. And my numbers are good. And, I'm not trying to be 40 or 50. I'm not. But I've had too many friends, family members die because of all kinds of stuff. And my mother died at 59, and when I turned 59, I was scared. But I don't know. All I do know is that I've lost a lot of friends. I went to my 50th high school reunion a few months ago, and out of 463, 93 of them were dead. And I was like, oh hell no. Forgive me. No, When I go, I don't want it to be because of something I did to myself. I just don't. And I'm not trying to look 50. I'm not trying to be younger, pretend like I'm not who I am or what my age. That is not it. That is not it. But all I know is I don't know anybody that's come back. And so I want to enjoy it while I can. That's it.
Thank you so much, Ms. McMillan.
Let's give her another round of applause, everyone. She did so well. And you said the book is coming out in March of 2020, correct? Let's hope for an audiobook. And will you be narrating the audiobook?
Please.
I guess we'll have to see. Before we reach the conclusion of our program,
She looked at us.
you just never know. I'd like to make mention of the Career and Networking Expo happening right now in the Kenneth L. Johnson Hyper Complex in the H.O. Clemens Arena. It'll be going on until 1 today, so students, make sure you go and attend that.
I do want to make one distinction. Thank you for leading our question and answer session to Dr. Carolyn G. Blakely, Chancellor Emeritus and Director of University Protocol. Can we get a hand?
And at this time, we have a special gift for our distinguished guest this morning, Mr. Justin Thomason.
Yes. Justin will be right back.
He has a really nice gift that I think he said took him about a week, so you all will be amazed.
So Justin has created this work of art for you. Look at your face. He did. So this is a gift from the Department of Multimedia Communications, the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. To you, Ms. Terry McMillan, We appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming to Arkansas. Your first visit, so we're sending you home with something that's definitely a treasure from us to you. At this time, we would like to introduce the Chancellor of this esteemed university, Mr. Lawrence Alexander.
He already knows. Thank you so much. I was right. And that means am I taking this home? Yes. Oh, Lord. That is really, that was better than the picture. You touched me up.
Good afternoon. Let me just say to Justin, Mr. Justin Thompson. Mr. Justin, where'd he go? We lost Justin. I just want to say to Mr. Justin, job well done. Art teacher. Pine Bluff High. Good afternoon, all of you. We would certainly, I'm on the program for closing, so I won't keep you long. Yo, stop They don't know we got company today. We'd like to express our sincere appreciation for all of you for joining us today and supporting this great event. We hope you've enjoyed this program as much as we have. We're so pleased and delighted to have such a dynamic and renowned writer as Ms. Terry McMillan on our campus here at the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. Thank you for accepting the invitation to come and to share with us, for we have waited for this day. And we can now exhale. After that great speech. So thank you so much for traveling all the way to the great state of Arkansas to join us for the Winthrop Rockefeller Distinguished Lecture Series and bringing down the house with those words of inspiration and wisdom this morning. It is safe to say that, like Stella, UAPB has got its groove back. You are quite the visionary and have served as a beacon of light for many years as you continue to empower and inspire individuals of all ages and cultures across the nation. Ms. McMillan, you're a great example of fortitude and achievement. Thank you once again. I'm going to come to a close. Last but certainly not least, we'd like to recognize and show our appreciation to our Amen Corner. Our special appreciation to the Winthrop Rockefeller Distinguished Lecture Series Committee. Would the members of the Distinguished Lecture Series Committee please stand and be recognized? Thank you so very much for your for your hard work and hours of dedication under the leadership of Dr. Ann White, the chair of the Department of Multimedia Communications here at UAPB. Thank you for your work behind the scenes and in front of the scenes, around the scenes and over the scenes, to make sure everything went off as planned. This has truly been a great day in the history and life of the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. Now, I'm done. You can go enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.